Howdy folks, Spencer here, and today I'll be going over the latest batch of news for STO on both PC and console. As always, chapters to each topic are listed down below. First up, a huge thanks to each of you for helping get this YouTube channel past the 10,000 subscriber mark. To celebrate, I'll be doing a special stream this Saturday, October 26th at noon Central Time, where I'll be starting up some giveaways, doing some TFOs, and chatting to all of you. If you can't make this stream, don't worry. The giveaways will be running for a couple of weeks on the CasualSAB Discord, so no pressure if you've got other commitments that day. And again, thank you all for the continued support. And next up, earlier today, the Star Trek Online Twitter account announced that they're aiming to have the second chance for the Dimensional Typhoon event on PC available again, starting this Thursday, October 24th, running up through November 23rd. So this has caused a bit of confusion. There's people thinking that this means the entire event is going to be back and you can continue to run it for the daily, but I do not believe that that is the case. Rather, I believe it's because the second chance event buyout was never available after that event ended, and this is just them going in and putting that buyout back in the Zen store up through November 23rd on PC. So my expectation is that this is just a way for those of you that hadn't completed the event to be able to purchase your remaining progress to get it. I don't expect that we're actually going to be able to play those queues to get the daily progress again. And next up, I want to go over some scheduling predictions for both PC and console. Starting off with November, console should be getting the Dimensional Typhoon event in early November, likely around November 5th. That is a 30-day event, so it should start up on a Tuesday. For PC, we'll have the final part of the event campaign, which will likely be a feast event, which is Swarm and Bug Hunt as the TFO options. That'll be running in November, and I would expect a red alert either prior or afterwards. And for all platforms, we'll have the Black Friday sales at the end of November, and we'll also potentially have a Muds bundle sale popping up alongside that, not guaranteed, but it would make sense if there was going to be another anytime soon. It would either be Black Friday or the end of year sales. And there's also a good chance with the Black Friday sales that we'll see a return of the T6 coupon 3-pack for 4,500 Zen. So that's basically 3 Zen chips for 15 bucks a pop. And with the PC to lithium exchange currently taking around 40 to 45 days for orders to go through, any dilithium that was not posted on the Deluxe prior to this video going up will likely not sell in time for the Black Friday sales. If you post your dilithium up on the Deluxe right now on PC, you're probably not going to have it go through until early December. That is how bad the delay is right now. And heading to December, we'll have the winter event likely starting up around December 3rd. Again, that's a 30-day event, so starting up on a Tuesday would make sense. And for all platforms at the very end of the year, we'll have the end of year sales and another chance at there potentially being a Muds bundle sale. And heading into 2025, in January, console will be getting the final part of Event Campaign 6, which again should be the feast. PC will probably see some red alerts popping up in January, and then at the very end of January will be the 15th anniversary event, which has a new story mission, TFO, lockbox, and probably some other stuff. And then in February of next year, around the middle of that month, we'll have the 15th anniversary bundle. And if you're on PC and you want to get it day one with Zen obtained through the Dilex, then you'll probably want to have your dilithium posted on the Dilex by the end of the year. If you have it posted in January, if the Dilex continues growing at its current rate, it's not gonna probably go through in time for you to get the bundle day one. And in late February, we should also see the start of the next event campaign. So that's what to look forward to for the next couple of months. We might see some other red alerts scattered around, but that's my overall expectation right now. And for those of us on PC, with the Dimensional Typhoon event having ended last week, the Elite version of the Royal Flush TFO is now available, and it is part of the Random Elite rotation. I think those of you that play Random Elites are very quickly going to hate this TFO. It does require there at least be 3 very high-performing DPS players, and it needs them to each split up and basically take their own lane. So if you don't have coordination, if you don't have DPS in there, I think you're going to have a bit of a difficult time with this TFO. I think most of the randoms that I've heard happen with this TFO have just ended up being a very quick fail. The one of the big issues for people playing this is they're not rescuing the Undine ships right away. That is something you need to prioritize in this queue. You'll see them with this icon above them. You have to prioritize getting to them as soon as possible and saving all of them. There's 18 total. If they drop below a certain health point, if even one of them does, then you just immediately will fail the TFO. So it's not going to be a fun pug experience, but if you have a team that you can go in and coordinate with, it is something that is able to generate quite a few Omega and Fleet marks. So let me skip to the end here where I can show you the rewards. So it is weird it doesn't have Undine as an option, given the Undine are very present in the map. But for the marks here, it rewards quite a bit, especially with some bonus pools active. It looks like the max amount of total marks you can get for the base is going to be around 410. And then, obviously, if you have boosters, you're going to get a bit more from it. So it is a good queue to do if you have a team that you can coordinate with. But in a random environment, again, I think those of you doing random elites will very quickly come to hate this queue. And if you're looking for some more help with this TFO, the STO Better team is working on a guide for it, and EPH already has a really nice post up on the STO subreddit, which I'll have linked down below. And now on to some updates for Oscar and some DPS rules. So for Oscar, there's a new version available to download on GitHub, so I'll include a link to that down below. And with that, there's also solo tables for Kidmer and Kira Space Elite if you're looking for a different type of challenge. And now for a DPS rule clarification regarding loadout, console, and trait swapping. This practice involves users activating consoles, traits, or other abilities, and then deslotting them while retaining the buff from them for a short duration. The complaints received are that loadout swapping on the map is an exploit and is as bad as stacking buffs outside of the map prior to map entry, and that folks like myself that do these high-end runs are basically gatekeeping this knowledge behind an elite team membership. So let me go over some examples before I respond to that of what loadout swapping is. So, for instance, a support player in a high level run might have a heal heavy loadout so that they can immediately apply 5 stacks of the friendship trait on the DPS player, and then afterwards they would swap to their actual loadout, which only has a single heal on it, which they can apply throughout the run to retain all 5 of those stacks on the DPS player. Nobody's had an issue with this ever. Number 2, a torpedo player who has a mines focused loadout for the prep phase to get more mines out, who then swaps to their proper torp loadout to maximize torp damage during the run, thus enabling them to have more mines out at the start. And those types of loadouts often also have a dummy console on them, like the Crystal Prism, so that they have all of their universal design stacks on them prior to going into combat. This is something that is fairly widespread. You look at Hansi Houston's run, he has a mines focused loadout. You look at Nick MB's run, he's also got a mines focused loadout. And if you go, really far back to some of the older Torp meta stuff, this was just a very common thing, and nobody ever raised an issue with it. And number 3 is the more recent examples where a DPS player is using consoles and traits during prep phase, activating them, and then deslotting them, thus benefiting from them for a short duration at the start of the run. And of course, the faster the run, the more impact this has. An example of this being my recent 5.6 million run, where I used the M6 and enhanced induction coils at 10 seconds left in the briefing phase, thus getting the M6 for the first 4 to 5 seconds of combat and enhanced induction coils for most of the run, basically. So I will show that to you here. The reason that these run VODs recently for me have had, the entire briefing phase there is transparency. Not really trying to hide this. This is all right out there. See a prep phase loadout. You can see the buffs that I have on me. And you can see, clearly when I'm activating the consoles and swapping loadouts. So the information, the transparency's been there. It's just not really many people care. Now, Chell also put a video up here showing this to an extreme level where he has a bunch of universal consoles on and he's going to go through and activate them all. And one of the things you'll notice too with this is when he swaps loadouts, a lot of these buffs fall off. You know, there's not many consoles and traits that will actually retain the buff on you once they've been deslotted. And you'll see, as soon as that loadout swaps, a good chunk of them fell off. So it's something that doesn't work for all traits and consoles, you know, but there are clearly a few that can be very advantageous to take advantage of. And the thing is, again, you know, this type of loadout swapping, it's been done for ages. And it's been done by many of the different teams over the past several years. So the ruling here for this is, you know, if it happens on the map, we're fine with it. You may utilize the prep phase time in the map as you see fit to maximize your potential. With this type of loadout swapping, there is a risk to it, like being stuck in the wrong loadout going into the combat. So there is a timing and skill requirement to properly execute it. Again, most of the loadout swapping methods people haven't had an issue with for, you know, how many years now. It's just in the past couple of weeks that people have really started to have an issue with it. And for the second part of this ruling, the part that nobody's ever been fine with is you stacking up a ton of buffs outside of the map and then loading into the combat map with those buffs, like getting 100 ruin stacks in a map and then loading in to the combat map with those 100 stacks of ruin. You know, stuff like that isn't fine. But the stuff that is done on the map that anyone can do if they're willing to do it, we're perfectly fine with that. But if it's outside the map, we're not. So hopefully that clears it up, you know, and hopefully that is giving the people complaining the level of transparency that they wanted. But again, it's been out there. You know, these run VODs include the briefing phase for a reason. I don't feel like I was intentionally hiding anything there, but if you didn't know about it, there you go. Hopefully this makes people happy. And that's going to be it for today. As always, thank you to all channel members and viewers for the continued support. See you guys around.